That's a good question. All right, here's the issue. Uh, a, Wing Chun has a really bad reputation in a lot of circles as far as it being a system that can be applied in a fight. And the reason it has that is it's earned that bad reputation. It's earned it completely. Not the system itself, but the way people present the system today. When I started Wing Chun in 1979, not much was known about the system here in the U.S. Bruce Lee had just died 6 years earlier. Um, my teacher was one of the first on the East Coast teaching Wing Chun, and you didn't have the internet, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have a lot of videos on the market presenting Wing Chun. So basically, the only way you could learn it was from a qualified instructor. Flash forward today, we've got the internet, we've got YouTube, we've got a plethora of instructional videos out here. So if a student feels like they're not learning quick enough, or someone can't afford classes somewhere or don't have an instructor near them, they get videos, they go on YouTube, and the next thing you know, they're presenting themselves as instructors and presenting Wing Chun. And these are guys with dubious backgrounds in Wing Chun and almost no background whatsoever in ever having been in a fight, presenting themselves as instructors of self-defense. You see a lot of Wing Chun versus boxing. You got some mediocre instructor who puts boxing gloves on a student who's never seen the inside of a boxing gym. The closest he's been to a boxing gym is watching Rocky at the theater. And this guy's hopping around with boxing gloves on, presenting himself as a boxer, throwing half-ass punches at his instructor, while the instructor demonstrates his kung fu dance of death and shows how awesome he is as far as his martial prowess. That's where Wing Chun gets a bad reputation. It's a fighting art. It's not a sport, number one. And it needs to be applied as such. You've got instructors out here. There's one in particular. He's got several books on the market. You see his instructional videos, and he's got his little silk pajamas on, little Chinese music playing in the background, and trying to Chinese up what he's doing because he feels like he needs to, being a Western instructor. Guess what? I've trained in Hong Kong. I've trained in Foshan. They don't dress that way. Okay? They leave the silk pajamas for the bedroom like we do. They don't do them in the classroom of a martial arts school. To apply Wing Chun, you need to be thinking from a real-world perspective. You need to be thinking about applying Wing Chun against what you're going to be facing on the street. Even some really good, legitimate Wing Chun instructors, if you watch a lot of what they're teaching in their classrooms, you see a lot of Wing Chun versus Wing Chun. Everybody doing chi sao, everybody defending against straight center line punches. That's not what they're going to be defending themselves against on the street. They're going to be facing guys that are Western boxing oriented. They're going to be facing guys that are going to try to take them down. If they haven't pressure tested what they're doing in a real world environment under the kinds of techniques they're going to be facing, they're leaving their students ill prepared to defend themselves with Wing Chun, and thus Wing Chun gets an attitude of a martial art that sucks because most of the instructors that are teaching it, even if they're good at Wing Chun, kind of suck at the way they're presenting Wing Chun because they're not presenting Wing Chun in a way that makes sense for today's environment. If we teach Wing Chun just as Yip Man did in the 1950s, then basically, what we're doing is preparing our students to be able to defend themselves in a world that no longer exists. People don't fight that way anymore. So we need to take the tools of Wing Chun, and the tools of Wing Chun are definitely adequate for use in a modern day system. But you have to train those tools to be used in the modern environment. You can't train people to defend themselves the way they did in the 50s and 60s in Hong Kong against Choy Foot, Hungar, and all these other systems that these students, especially in the West, will probably never run into. Look at MMA. MMA has changed the face of the way people fight. Even people without training who watch MMA, you learn a certain amount by watching. And people are going to try to take you down. People are going to try to ground and pound. People are going to be more boxing oriented. They're not committed in their punches. They're dancing around more. They're throwing uncommitted punches until they can get inside, or they're wailing in with a barrage of the windmill type of strokes that people throw. They're not throwing Wing Chun chain punches. Hell, you just have to stay in the center to defend against Wing Chun chain punches. You have things coming from different angles, which is another problem. Wing Chun has uppercuts. Wing Chun has hooks. They're in the forms. Why do Wing Chun people not train those techniques? Everybody wants to look like Donnie Yen. If you're not hitting different angles with your strikes, you're not doing everything you can with the art. You need to unchain Wing Chun. Unchain it, let it be what it can be in the modern environment. Look at a technique for, not what is this, but what all can it be? How all can I use this? We need to be a lot more open in the way we apply Wing Chun, and we as instructors need to make sure we understand where Wing Chun works, how it needs to be pressure tested, and we need to be passing it on to our students. That, in a nutshell, is what I think is the problem with Wing Chun today. Not that Wing Chun isn't efficient, it's just the way it's being taught isn't efficient and practical.